And on that note, we begin Chapter 2, Magical of the White Magnolia. That title will make sense later, trust me. So yeah, that scene's amazing. If you liked Olivier before, you probably like him even more now. But Estelle and Joshua are none the wiser as to his true nature. Our next destination is Ruin. And well, yeah, no airliners once again. And unlike Bose, Ruin's actually pretty far away from us right now, so just getting there is going to be a journey in and of itself. Actually, it was Dad who said that to Shara, but anyway. Well, I mean, you know, we have money to burn thanks to ice cream, so no real need to save it, but oh well. Now, when Estelle points out shopping, it's actually something that kind of is significant because there's a new issue of the Ravennue News available, so I'm going to go ahead and buy that. And yeah, we were at Crone Pass before for that escort request, but now we actually have to go past the actual gate there. So, first port of call back at the market is to go to the magazine stand and buy Ravennue News issue 4. We'll have access to that in later shops, but I might as well get it out of the way now. Anyway, let's just go ahead and read that. Featured story, case closed, criminals caught. All hostages safely secured. The Royal Army reports that the military's intelligence division successfully located the Sky Bandits' hideout in the mountains of Bose. The criminals were apprehended and all hostages set free. Yep, as we thought, we don't get any credit for this. At least it seems. Linda found an abandoned mine. Mere days prior to the Capua's capture, the Linda was found in an abandoned mine north of Ravennue village. Its cargo had been looted and its passengers and crew were still missing. But this was the break the investigators needed to crack the case wide open, and shortly thereafter, that's exactly what they did. Great success for new intelligence division. The monumental task of clue analysis and deduction fell upon the Royal Intelligence Division, newly founded by a young man named Colonel Alan Richard. While the Border Patrol tracked the criminals, a team of intelligence officials led by one General Morgan fed them information and analysis, and it was this coordinated effort that ultimately led to a successful rescue. Historic arrest witnessed by media. Put your hands in the air, came the cry. With that, the Royal Army blockaded the Capuas before they could escape, and it was all over. Don Capua's blank, disbelieving stare said it all. Apparently, he's only 32. Braces also play a crucial role. Oh, okay, we did actually get recognition. Intelligence and Border Patrol alone can't take all the credit for this successful rescue, as a handful of braces played a fairly significant role too, modestly dodging the limelight in the process. Actually, you kind of forced us to, but oh well. Several hours prior to the Army's raid, these braces infiltrated the Sky Bandits' hideout through decidedly non-standard means, and waged a small war against them from within, keeping them off their guard. In the end, it seems the braces and the Royal Army really did work together, albeit by accident. I was just about to say that. Ringleader taken to Leiston Fortress, I believe is how it's actually pronounced. Don Capua, the ringleader of this crime family, has been transported to the Leiston Fortress, where he will be thoroughly interrogated. The Capua's Imperial-made light aircraft, Bobcat, has been impounded as evidence, but the case is expected to be an open and shut one. Family is relieved that hostages are safe. Families and friends of the hostages finally have a reason to smile again now they know their loved ones are safe. Bose's Mare Maybelle is overjoyed as well. This is the result we all prayed for, she says, and we owe an immeasurable debt of thanks to all those involved in resolving this incident without casualty. We at Ravennue News also wish to send our gratitude to General Morgan, along with his men and women of the Intelligence Division, for working around the clock to track down the whereabouts of the hostages and their captors. Everyone else involved deserves commendation as well, so let's be sure that when they return to their homes, they receive a true hero's welcome. Society. Duke Janan von Orsulus to visit Ruin. Our sources say that Her Majesty's nephew is planning a vacation to Ruin, though the exact times and locations remain undisclosed. Well, since we're going there, we're obviously going to bump into him sooner or later. Society, Imperial Citizen Dines and Dashes, oh no. The upscale Anteros restaurant in Bose's North Block suffered a loss this week when an Imperial traveller / would-be musician bilked on his rather hefty bill. The man was arrested on the spot and imprisoned at Hucken Gate. A bit severe, but it sends a powerful message. So, yeah, that's actually better than we hoped for, since we actually got some recognition. And by the way, if we talk to this guy, turns out he was only interested in his store because he thought the one running it was cute. So yeah, if you talk to Felicia here, yeah, her husband is actually back at Ravennue Village in the Orchard, and he does have his reasons for staying there. There's also a little bit of interesting dialogue you can get by talking to this guy at the bar. Here's the thing though, if you've been talking to people at Ravennue Village, you'll know the people who claim to have seen the dragon are children, so I guess those reports may not be the most trustworthy of sources. Speaking of children, I want to talk to Harry and Mina before we leave, and well, yeah, we're leaving. You get to escape, old man. No blockage for you this time. Okay then, looks like things aren't entirely happy between those two. While we're here, might as well talk to the mayor before we leave. Yes, it would. It seems like Bose doesn't really have a lot of bracers who are really based in the region. Most of the others have someone who's pretty regular around that area, and someone pretty famous too, like Sheraback and Rollins. And we'll be seeing more famous regional bracers later, but Bose doesn't really have anyone. Hopefully, Mayor Maybell will have a bit of a break from paperwork for the time being. And speaking of Lila, let's talk to her as well. So, there are a couple more things that we need to do before leaving Bose. The first is to head to the South Block and go to this house, because here, this is where the lady who lost her ring is. This will let us complete the Lost Ring quest. It's in a chest in the Sky Bandit Stronghold. Now, I think you can still go there via Nebel Valley, I think. I'm not 100% sure. But if you missed it, you might be able to pick it up now. Yeah, it only gave +2 defense. It's no big loss to have to give it back. So, yet one more job taken care of for the Professional Sidequesters Guild. And speaking of which, there's one more quest that needs to be completed before leaving the region, but it's a hidden quest. And it's one of the most god-dang-it hidden quests in the entire game. All you really get are vague hints about it, but if we talk to this guy here, this is not the guy who was previously manning the store. In fact, it was the guy who was drowning his sorrows at the bar after having lost his shop to Nigel. However, it seems Nigel was involved in shady business and has been arrested, as Cornelius says right now. So, here we actually have to make a bit of a deduction. Nigel was arrested and taken to Hucken Gate. He was said to be involved in some shady business. When we last spoke to Nigel, he said that a notebook had been stolen by the Sky Bandits, and if the Braces or the Royal Armies saw what was written in it, he'd be in for a world of hurt. We found a black notebook suspiciously hidden inside a vacuum cleaner that was stolen by the Sky Bandits in their hideout. So, putting the dots together, we need to go to Hucken Gate and take that black notebook to the Royal Army there. That just goes to show how much defense, just how much a small increase in defense can affect damage in this game. Yeah, we're so much of a higher level now that these enemies can't even hurt us. Even the Harass Velga are pretty much no threat, which is surprising considering how much of a threat they were before. Anyway, so at the Hucken Gate, we need to make our way downstairs to the prison. Because here's Nigel. He has been suspected, but the Royal Guard don't have any proof. So if we hadn't found this black notebook, this guy would get away with it. Yeah, no doubt all of those random numbers in that book were recordings of shady dealings. And you kind of just confirmed it was yours, too. Well, hopefully this will curry some favour with the Royal Army. And he's reduced to begging. So, don't worry, because there are not going to be any quests as much of a guide dang it as that one later in the game. You know what, we might as well say goodbye to General Morgan before we leave, as much as I don't really want to. Well, he's as pleasant as ever. Yeah, let's go. So, might as well report these two to the guild before we leave. Before reporting them, we should have 111 BP if you're going for a max BP run. If you don't have that much by now, don't panic, you might have just forgotten to report the quest New Ansel Path monster. Usually you tend to report that one after the main story events of the chapter. So anyway, let's go ahead and report these two. Stolen Ring and Black Notebook. And is there anything else you have to say? At least we can say goodbye to him too. Well, good to know that for the future. So that's all done. Before we leave though, let's go ahead and stop at this Orbital Factory because I can finally open a slot on someone. I'm gonna go ahead and open this slot on Joshua right now. Unfortunately, I'm a little short on Wind Seepers now, so I can't actually open an additional slot on either Joshua or Estelle, but sometime during this chapter, I want to be able to open this slot on Joshua. There's a very good reason why. Speaking of slots, let's go ahead into the Orbment and move either Cast 1 or Action 1. I think I'll actually move Cast 1 over to this time-only slot. Because here I'm going to put that quartz that I got in the last part, the ranking up one, Haze. This provides some earth energy, but also it makes enemies unaware of your presence. This means that enemies are less likely to chase you on the field, which also, by extension, makes it far easier to get preemptive strikes, so it's a pretty useful quartz to have. So yeah, Murano's father was one of the people kidnapped by the Sky Bandits. Thing is, Murano herself is a pretty shrewd businesswoman, and we'll actually be seeing more of her throughout the game. I don't think she's ever relevant to any side quests, but it's just a little nice NPC subplot. Yes, we have the best weapon for Estelle available. While we're here though, we might as well go ahead and sell all of Shera and Olivier's weapons. Because, yeah, we're actually not going to be needing those. Oh, by the way, here are the Holy Boots. Okay, move +3. The defense bonus is very bad, but... yeah, they make you very, very fragile. But move +3 kind of has niche uses, I guess. Yep, I think I've got everything. It's time to... well, actually, we're going to make a quick stop over at Ravennue Village before leaving the Bose region for good. So, you do actually have a unique conversation if you come back and talk to Louis before leaving. All of this is totally optional, but it's nice to see the attention to detail here. And nice to see they didn't completely forget about Louis after his role in the plot was over. Well, things worked out well in the end. Yeah, you actually can't go into the mine now. The soldiers will tell you it's off limits. Thankfully, there are no chests in there. If we go to the Elder's house, we'll see that a meeting is taking place in here. This actually makes a bit more sense if you talk to these people throughout the chapter, because they have been constantly debating whether or not to invest more in things like tractors, or just stick to traditional methods. And by the way, yes, Law is the husband of Felicia back in Bose. Just an interesting little bit of village culture world building, I guess. So we're back here at the Crone Trail. If you haven't got the 2 chests here, go ahead and get them now because this will be your last chance. But the reason why I did the wisdom fight earlier is because if you do it now, then Shera's not with you. So doing it with just Estelle and Joshua is a little bit harder, even if they're higher level. Okay, so this way leads to the gate. Or rather, the Crone Pass checkpoint is what it's actually called. Definitely seems a bit more ramshackle than the one back in Roland's. Considering it's in the middle of a mountain range, though, that kind of makes sense. So yes, we are going to be staying the night. Yeah, walking down a mountain at night, probably not a good idea, especially not an unfamiliar mountain. Ah, okay, we've already crossed the point of no return, which means it's a good thing that I've got a save file from earlier. No, we're actually heading down to the Bose region. In fact, you may have seen us earlier. We came here to escort that guy from the hotel back in Bose. Yeah, I guess they're not used to people not using the airliners, especially through the mountain pass. Okay then. So, note to selves, be careful heading down the mountain pass. Okay, so we have someone to talk to. There's also a free heal point here. I would recommend using it before you talk to the Chief Warrant Officer, who is right here. Well, nice to see they have fireplaces. Great line there. Yeah, notice they have a communications device there too. One thing that I do find really interesting is that, the equivalent of a mobile phone is considered an ancient artifact, while this setting has vacuum cleaners. It is really interesting the level of technology that's on display here. And it is pretty cool seeing this. It's not even really steampunk. It's kind of like a fusion of medieval fantasy and early industrial age. You know, I actually kind of agree with Joshua here. I've been in front of real wood fires before, and it's a feeling that can't be replicated with technology. Hey, looks like we did manage to score free food. Nice! Oh, I feel really bad for these guys. The gate in Roland at least seemed to be used quite a bit, but this place, yeah, I doubt many people would want to go through a mountain pass on foot. Oh. Well then. That doesn't bode well. Yeah, well, mainly the ones that aren't under General Morgan's thumb. Really? That's a gross generalization there. Well, they didn't get food poisoning, so I guess that soldier who was on cooking duty at least isn't as bad as Setsuna. Or Estelle's taste buds just aren't quite as refined as everyone else's. Well, there is room for one more here. I guess this kind of thing is, inevitable when you're when you're using makeshift accommodation like this. I wonder who that could be. Yep, it's Redhead Cloud once again. Because +1 special cooldown agate doesn't roll off the tongue as well. Still doesn't answer the question of why you're wandering around this late at night. So, hope Estelle's okay sharing with this guy. We didn't really get to see much of him before. Well, she's probably completely drunk right now, as usual. Why do I get the feeling you're going to be pretty condescending about that? Also, Olivier, he helped too. Don't leave him out. And I don't think we would have arrested them without the Royal Army's involvement. That doesn't mean we're any less braces, though. I see his point, but he could be less of a jerk about that. Obviously, he does have the kind of experience to survive that kind of journey. Well, they do work as well. Oh, right, yeah, I think you did mention this before. He had more jobs than just the ones in Roland, and Shera obviously couldn't take care of those, so he had to push it on someone else. There's always that roommate who just wants to go to sleep and is always annoyed at you for staying up late. Don't worry, we fully intend to do that. It's kind of a long way there, though. He sure falls asleep quickly. He could have put it a little more nicely, though. Yeah, as I keep saying, it's a long way to ruin, so we're gonna need some rest for the long journey. What are you, Jigglypuff from the anime? Never say something like that. You know when someone says something like that, there's gonna be something bad happening in a few seconds. Like that. It's never just the wind. Well, good thing we hadn't gone to sleep just yet. Also, this is actually the first instance of that amazing song that I was talking about earlier in the Sky Bandit hideout. I kind of wish this one played when the Sky Bandits were running away. Particularly this part of the song right here. Well, the Army might be able to handle one side, but they kind of put all their men on that side. So I guess we have to help after all. And it's fight time! We've got a lot of these wolf things, and they are reasonably fast as well. It looks like they're gonna kind of punch themselves up a little bit though. You might also notice that we actually have Agate on our side. And he's got quite a lot of HP as well. Agate is actually the first pure physical attacker that we were encountering. So he has these moves, Wild Rage, which is very unique. It lowers his HP but gives him 53 CP. And Flame Smash, which is an AoE physical attack that hits in a pretty wide area. It also does pretty good damage too, well, when it hits, that is. Let's see, can I get Hell? Yes, I can get Hellgate in. Okay, good. Let's, can I? No, the maximum number of them I can get is 3. Let's do that. Let's see, I guess... Should I go for Earth Wall, or should I just go for an Aerial? How much? These things are pretty weak, and they're quite vulnerable to all magical elements. Let's go ahead and do this. So I should mention, feel free to spam Agate CP as much as you want here. And you can probably tell why I'm saying that. Wow, that's actually killed 3 of them. Agate does have an S-Craft, I believe, so I might want to try and show that. Okay, he hasn't quite got it yet. Let's just intentionally hold back so as to... He's probably going to one-shot it, isn't he? Yes, he is, so no S-Craft for me. So Agate is actually voiced by Bryce Papenbrook, surprisingly enough. Carell from Heroes isn't the only time he played against type. He normally voices very youthful-sounding, completely heroic characters, well, and Henry. But, yeah, Agate's very different to Bryce Papenbrook's usual roles. Anyway, as you can probably tell, we will get a chance to see Agate's S-Craft later, but he's going to be leaving us after this fight, so feel free to just completely spam your CP. Did well, we eliminated more of them than you did. Well, hopefully things were okay on their end. I love how that guy just kind of slides in holding the bayonet, because they don't really have a walking animation with those things. Yeah, he looked like he was gonna get ripped apart if we hadn't arrived. Oh hey, he's actually praising us. Looks like we were here at just the right time. But why'd this place get attacked like that? That didn't seem like some random monster attack, that seemed coordinated. And so Agate just brushes off the whole thing, is just like, yeah, I'll just go back to sleep now. Yeah, he did while he was in the presence of those soldiers, but when it's just us alone, he's a jerk. He does seem pretty strong, though. And so the night goes by. And Estelle sleeps in, as you'd expect. Also, that third bed is suspiciously empty. Has she completely forgotten what's happened over the last few, I think probably several weeks? Yep, Agate is gone. Or red-headed jerk. Have a feeling someone like Agate has a pretty flexible sleep schedule. I guess that's just kind of the way he rolls. And so, off to Ruin is where we'll go, next time.